Insect Fair. My name is Kim Cobb and I'm a local artist and educator here in town. I hope you're having a great time so far. Right now with the Museum of Riverside, I'm going to show you how to make a fun insect paper oddity that you can hang on your wall. Everything that you need is right here in the kit. Also in the kit, I've included a free art print. If you're interested in seeing all the other ones that I have to offer, you can go online to my website, thelovelybug.com. If you're ready, let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome. Today you should have one of these 4 packs. Each one of them has the exact same thing on the inside. They're all different color variations, but all the cutouts are the same. Each of them has a beautiful blue beetle, and we're going to get started. So let's go over what we've got in each of the packs. In each pack you should have an art print. And remember, if you like this one and you want to get some other ones, you can go onto my website. You should also have a little backer card full of little sticky adhesive squares. You should have this very tiny little piece right here for the shine. You should have a middle layer for the beetle that highlights some of his features. You could have our longhorned beetle himself. And this is a longhorned beetle, not a cockroach. And we also have the leaf, the lattice work, and a backer card. Yours might be black or white, depending on what color your lattice work was. All right. So let's get started. First thing to do is to look at each one of your pieces and determine which side you would like to be on top. Now the way that this was cut, it was cut with an electronic die cut machine. So as you can see, the blade does sometimes leave little white marks along the paper where it cut and stopped and turned. But that's okay, because all you have to do is flip it over, and then you don't normally see any of those marks. So you can pick which side is the best. I tried to be extremely careful when I was pulling these off the machine for you so that there shouldn't be any tears in these. And then you can just place that right over your backer card. Now with this one, because the backer card is pretty straightforward and we really don't need to pick positioning because it's just going to lay right on top of it, we can pull off our little adhesive squares already. Now if you would prefer, you can simply glue this one down if you don't want this to have any height. I prefer it to have some height to it. It's kind of fun, but you don't need to. So you can just stick one right there. You can also stick one right here. Now the great thing about these little adhesives is that, as you can see, they are kind of foamish. So they do have a little bit of height to them. And that little bit of height is nice. I would also suggest you have a trash can handy, just because you're going to get these little squares everywhere if you don't. Okay, just like that. And we're going to flip it over and just very, very gently. These are each 1/4 of a page. We're just going to try and line it up and drop it right down. Now, I like to give this the foam core because it just gives it just a little bit of a height, and you start to see a little bit of shadow as you go, and that's really nice because it kind of layers everything and makes it a little 3D. Okay, our next piece is going to be our leaf. It doesn't matter which side you flip the leaf onto as far as direction goes. You can layer it whichever way you want. I'm thinking I kind of actually like it on this side best. So I'm going to position where I want it. Then I'm going to again take another little square foam. And what you can do if you want to is you can either pull it off the way that I did last time, or you can just pull off one of the little backers. And then what you can do is stick it down first and then peel up. Oops. Sometimes you get 2 though. So it's up to you on which way you'd like to do it. There's no right or wrong way really. And we're just going to stick these on the biggest pieces, maybe in 3 spots. So we'll take one more and we'll stick it right on this one. There we go. And then we'll just pull off the back of this one. All right. Now this could also be flat as well. If you prefer this one to be flat onto this backing too, all you need to do is get a bit of glue. And you can do it that way if you like. But again, I like giving it a little bit of height. It gives it some fun dimension as we go. And part of the fun of this is having this shadowy effect and this 3D effect. Paper is a lot of fun as a medium because even though it is two-dimensional and flat, all you have to do is give it a little bit of volume by popping it onto something that's going to make it stand up a bit, and then you can have some really fun looking stuff. If you've ever seen any of that paper art, it's really enjoyable to look at. There we go. So as I'm doing this, I know a lot of people are not big fans of beetles, but you know, beetles are really helpful to the environment. One of the things that beetles do is they break down all the waste materials and leftover materials and they clean it up. And without animals that did that, well, can you imagine how much stuff there would just be lying around? Beetles are extremely helpful. All right, now you might notice that his antennae are going to be hanging off the side just slightly, and that's okay. That's the way that this was designed, to be a little askew, just because it adds a little bit more visual interest. If you want, you could have really tilted him and made him go really far, and that would have been really interesting to look at as well. Look, now he's starting to get some nice, just a little bit of dimension to him, but it's just enough to where it looks really nice. Our next final 2 steps are just going to be giving him some definition on his shell. Now, if you've been paying attention to anything that anyone's been saying, if anyone's been talking about this yet, then you know that insects have an exoskeleton. And this is his. That means that all of their skeleton's on the outside, so that's their hard shell. And this is the shine that goes on top of it. So if you look closely, you can see right here the shell and the separation where his shell would open and provide him with his wing area. And you can see where his little eyeballs would be right up here at the top. So a good way to kind of determine where you want this is you can look at the bottom of the shell, because there's supposed to be a tiny little line. See that right there? There's supposed to be a little bit of space all the way around. But if you want, you can also kind of make that uneven. That kind of actually looks pretty cool as well. And you can go all the way up to the top with his eyes right there, so that everything is right up, all the way up, or you can go down a bit. I think I'm going to go down a bit and center him a little bit, judging based off of his eye area right up here. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good to me. So you're going to have some of these left over, and I provided you with more than enough for you to stick them as much as you wanted to make sure that you felt really secure in where the placement was. Though you're not really going to be throwing this around much, but because the pieces were so delicately cut, I wanted to make sure that everyone felt like their pieces were placed securely. And I would suggest that you place each of the little stickies onto the back of the piece that you're about to stick, not onto the place where you're sticking. Because these are square, you will find sometimes that if you're not extremely careful, you're going to have a bit of the square peeking out somewhere. So I'm actually going to put 3 of these down just to ensure that he's even all the way over and that nothing kind of slumps in one area. Here we go. We're going to peel this one off too. And in case there was any question that this little guy is an insect, all we have to do is take a look at him and count. He has 6 legs, 3 pairs of them. He's got 2 antennae. He does have a hard shell. So he counts as an insect. He also has 3 little body pieces, the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. So now we're pretty much done. We've just got one last thing to do. If you're trying to figure out how to hang this on your wall, you can mount it and then stick it in a frame that doesn't have any glass. And you can even mount it just with these little foam cores as well. And that'll give it some nice dimension. If you really want to make it pop, you can even stack these on top of each other to give it just a little extra added oomph. It'll look really nice on your wall. Okay, right now, he's looking pretty good as is. I happen to like him this way, but if you want to provide him with a bit of shine, you can. Now you can either use one of these, but then that would pop it up quite a bit. So personally, what I would prefer to do is just get a little bit of glue if I wanted this piece here. And I would either glue it down here, like this, or I could glue it down on this side, like this, or if I even wanted to, I could flip this gently over and make it go like this on this side. Oops. It really is up to you and how you like it and how you prefer it. Personally, I think I'm going to leave it off of mine. Thanks so much for joining me. I'd love to see how your creations turned out, so if you post on the social media, especially on Instagram, please do tag me at LovelyBugArt. I would love to see these.